Greetings, patrons. Hello to you. Happy New Year. Thank you to all of you who sent me wonderful, warm New Year's greetings. So, a lot, just as like a behind the scenes, I've never quite figured out how to shoot these videos. I'm just making this up as I go along. Some days I really think about these videos before I shoot them. Other days I just let it rip. But generally speaking, there's always a lot of extra footage. And I just found some stuff that I had shot in a previous video. And it was about the death of my teacher, Sasaki Roshi. So I don't want to delete this off my computer. I have to delete all extra footage because my computer, something's up with it. And it's always crashing and there's not enough RAM. And I don't know, the little goblins that are haunting the microchips in there are not pleased if it gets too heavy with content. So I have to keep deleting stuff. But I'm going to edit this. I'm going to edit this footage together of me talking about Sasaki Roshi's death. I'm going to put it up here on Patron just because I think it's death is. I don't know why. I just want it out there. During Roshi's final days on this planet, he was in the hospital. It took him about a week to die. So he was in the hospital for about a week. But I think it was the day before he died. We didn't really know what to do, his attendant and I. So we were the only people that were with him on his deathbed. And I this is kind of, I don't know how else to put it, but a lot of us as his students were really greedy for his presence. So we didn't want to bring a bunch of people, a bunch of Zen students into the room as he was dying and let all that greedy, presence-grabbing energy into the room, all that sobbing, mournful, macabre, my teacher is dying energy into the room. I mean, for better or worse, Sasaki Roshi was a patriarch. He was a leader. He was a spiritual leader. And people looked up to him and respected him and treated him like their father or their grandfather. That's what the term Roshi translates as, great parent. So Roshi was like everybody's great spiritual parent. So his attendant and I, we didn't want all this energy coming into his deathbed. Who needs that when you're dying, to have your spiritual children coming and grabbing and tugging on your robes and saying, "Don't die, stay with us." Ah! Okay, so she and I got together. We said, here's what we need to do. People can come in one by one, sit at his bedside and do their meditation practice. And so I would tell people as they got off the elevator at Cedars Sinai, I was taking them to Roshi's room, I would say, you're gonna do your Zazen now. Roshi's helped you as your teacher for your entire life. Now you're going to help him. You're going to simply do your Zazen meditation practice at his bedside. And when you have emotions and feelings and all this energy arising in you that's going to make you want to cry, tears of joy or happiness or whatever, save it for later. You're doing your Zazen now. You're helping him let go. Okay? You're letting go with him. And this became the death activity that we did together with Roshi as his community. We sat with him on his deathbed and we all died a little bit with him. He used to tell us, he would tell me, "Oh, your problem is you are not dying with Roshi completely. You need to do the death activity." And so on his deathbed, as best we could, we all surrendered our egos and did our Zazen practice with him. And the following day, the doctors told us, he's not dying. He's been here for a week. Get him out of here. So we were like, okay, I guess we got to take him home. And we were preparing to take him home, and then he started losing his oxygen And his oxygen saturation levels dropped and dropped, and he was taking these big heaving breaths, and then suddenly he'd stopped breathing. And I looked up at the monitor, and you're supposed to see a flat line like in the movies and television, but there was just a question mark. I was like, what? A question mark? Are you kidding me? He was dead. And in terms of death being on a continuum, it was interesting because, I mean, you're part of that process. Anybody who's been on a deathbed knows you're part of that process when you're in the room. Like, I remember feeling all the energy kind of going upward, upward, and then like through the ceiling. And I remember thinking, like, where are you? Where did you go? It's almost like you could feel the life leaving the guy, leaving and leaving. And then on his face and in his body, the life slowly left, and you saw it just disappearing, 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 as his body and face became more dead as the minutes and then the hours passed. I felt privileged to have learned at the feet of this Zen master how to die so many years, taking care literally at his feet, because you'd have to put his socks on, and he always was getting swollen feet, so he had to massage them and all that stuff. So learning about the death activity, and then to actually watch him die. And this whole process taught me to trust in this process of dying. Death is not something to be afraid of or to hate or to avoid. You don't want to get your head chopped off and put in a cryogenic freezing tank, you know? That's not necessary. Death is natural. We're part of this universe, and the death activity is part of this universe. And that's something we can trust in and be a part of. In that same Teisho that I quoted from earlier, Roshi says, when you meet with the activity of death, everybody is the same. Even I am the same. Everyone is startled. But in the Zen school, within the Zen activity, when you meet up with the activity of dying, you simply make the activity of dying your content. And making the activity of dying your content, you manifest the self which no longer needs to do dying. And meeting the living activity, one already has the living activity as one's content. And making the living activity one's content, one already manifests the self which no longer needs to do living. Then at the end of this disquisition on life and death, he says, isn't this simple? Isn't this the most obvious thing in the world? Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to do a temporary dying activity known as the nap. Ciao. Greetings, dear friends, and thank you, patrons, for your support. I shall now send good juju and mojo your way and read your names. This is to honor you for your support and to, hold our names together here, because we're a little bit of a community. So, hello and thank you. Adam Hayes, Adam Nogrady, Aiden, who asked me that wonderful question, Adrian, Alex and ER, who I think is visiting me in Vienna soon. See you soon, Alex. Andreas, Andrew Cude, Andrew Tate, haha, just kidding, not Andrew Tate, Andrew Leonards, Andrew Rahauser. I know I'm pronouncing these names wrong, but I'm just saying them as you guys write them when you become patrons. Angel R. Puente, who is actually a student of Sasaki Roshi. Annie Taib, who always has great comments on my Facebook posts and stuff. I appreciate that. Bill Evans, Blake Wilson, pretty good tweeter, that guy Blake. Brad Warner. Brad, my good dear Dharma friend, someone who always supports me, and man, that guy does good videos, and I can't always watch his videos because I find myself making videos on the exact same topics sometimes, and then I feel like I'm copying him. Anyways, Bran Flake, Brett Astor, Brian Stubbs, Kale, Chris A., Christopher, Cliff Clusin,
Clifford Collins, who used to be on the board of directors at Malt Baldy when I was up there. Corey Warner, Craig Nelson, Psycho, C-Y-C-O, get it? Daniel Poe, Daniel Rhodes, Danny Parker, Dante, Mr. Alighieri, welcome. David Casacuberta, David Cudlip, David Guy, the wonderful David Guy who wrote a great novel that is out now called Hank Heels, Go Buy It. David Sheely, Dax J. Kramer, Dennis Stratton, Dennis Valentine, Devin Selby, whom I believe has a wonderful Instagram account with his artwork on it, or I could be completely wrong. If I am, sorry, Devin. If I'm right, go visit Devin's Instagram page. Diana Shane, also somebody who makes nice comments and has nice Facebook posts. Don Heffington, Doug Banner, Dustin Frost, Eddie, Elliot Starks, Eric Hernandez, Eric Zimmer of the wonderful One You Feed podcast, Espen Ore, Felix, Francis Bahi, Gail, Glenn Burns, Greg Hooper, Ian Smith, Ina Horch, Inagata Davide, baby, Jock Rabby, Jane O'Day, James Buell, James Powers, Jamie Doobie, Janet Pal, we go back a long way, Jason Poole, met him in New York, Jean Desi, Jeff Fedorq, Jeffrey Zacko Smith, wonderful commenter on my Facebook page, my YouTube page, Jennifer Ball, Jesse Neal, Jim Nowick, Joe G, John F. Meyer, Junior, John May, high school friend, John Spalding, wonderful editor, had at Shambhala for a while, Justin Kahn, who gave me $150 last year, if I'm remembering correctly, to, okay, I have to read these fast now because they're scrolling and I'm missing your names. Karen Brady, Kelly Patron, Kendall Pig, Kevin M., Kim McQueen, Kyle Smith, I know you, Kim, Kyle Smith, Lars Morton, Fuglevik, Leah Sokun Stanford, Leon, Mario, Mark Noble, the great Mark Noble, my super friend, Mark Younger, Matthew G. Mintinen, Mike, Mumido, Steve Grundy, Mimi, Old Shuck, Navreet Kaur Hennigan, Neil Taylor, Dear Nina Snow, Oliver Klepper. No, sorry, I think Oliver Klepper was the guy who gave me that money to do my Zoom last year. Okay, Paul Wilcox, Paulo Clautau, Peggy Kerselis, Philip Weichselgartner, Robert Piper, Roseanne Cassidy, Ryan Johnson, Smoggy Rob, see you soon, Smoggy, Stephen Beckley, Stephen G., Stephen Hughes, Steve Price, Steve Rides, Thegis Debus, a wonderful donor, Tina Chasely, Tom Falcon, Tony Stewart, Wiley Heineman, Wolfgang Sellner, and Peter Rantaza. Dear friends, thank you so much. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. I had to speed through this because they were scrolling too quickly. I love you. I'll see you soon. I'll have a video for you in a few days, another one. Bye-bye. Happy 2023 to us.